The phone number again, 877-877-6464. When you call, tell them either you're supporting Imus or you're calling from the Opie and Anthony show. That would be appreciated. We got a TV star on the line, Patrice O'Neill. Patrice!
What's up?
Patrice is making the rounds.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna bop Geraldo on the nose last night on Hannity and Combs.
You know why? It's confusing. I was like you, Ant, right? Listening and watching everything.
Yeah.
And here's the trend. You don't see anybody really. All I saw was a lot of old people on TV, and I really think it was a deal between old civil rights black people and old white people, and they made a deal.
They finally shook hands?
They made a deal, and what the deal was a couple, because you listen to Les Moonves' speech. The third word out of his mouth, not literally, but was diversity. And I think they traded about 3 or 4 black faces on MSNBC and CBS News. And they traded it for hip-hop. They traded it for hip-hop. The language that's going on right now has nothing to do with what you guys do. See, Don Imus was an easy mark.
Yeah.
He had a lot of enemies. Like, a lot of times, I stopped hearing stories about nappy-headed hoe and started just hearing stories about, how he, what he did when he was 3 and old pictures of his face. Like you said, he's been doing this thing for 40-something years or 30-something years. They could have got him last week. They could have got him 2 weeks before.
They could have got him 2 years ago.
He was an easy mark because there was no outcry for him as a personal human being. So it was easy for the news or they, the conspiratory they, to remove him easily and get rid of an old school sitcom icon, sitcom hero in Kramer. So what they did is now they're going after. This is why I was so mad at young. You should have seen nothing but young, except for my dumb ass, nothing but young black people on TV saying this is not going. Do you think that the white infrastructure cares about nappy-headed hoe? Who cares? It went from Imus to hip-hop, and that's all they've been comparing it to. So Imus is gone. He is gone. CBS got rid of him because it was easy to do. Now the game's going to start. Hip-hop has got too much power. Like when you guys said call into Imus's show, and them phones went from 200 to 1,100, what happens, right, when some old white person's kid is at a concert and some young black dude, young N-word, is on stage saying, throw your hands in the air, and 10,000 white kids say, yes, master. They can't deal with that. Hip-hop is next, fellas. It ain't the O&A. They could have got y'all a long time ago. Y'all are too powerful for the demographic, man. Young people. This was an old dinosaur that they served up on a platter so that they can go after these loudmouth, and all black people don't care about hip-hop. This ain't even a black thing. It's an old people thing. All black folks that did the civil rights movement, they were not satisfied with the benefits because all we got was a language that they don't use. That's what we've been left. I benefit, Def Jam benefits, rap benefits, but not all black people, senators, the Black Caucus, they served it up. And they made a deal.
It's a good point.
It's a great point.
Because he kind of represented that old school, the final, the last bastion of that old school civil rights.
And stuff like, and I'm not even saying where I'm sitting on these shows going, my God. And it's a scary thing because, first of all, the news people don't, it's just scary. They just don't care. They just doing what they're supposed to do with a bunch of That's why I said yesterday, let's just say we want double standards, which we quietly and unofficially had a deal. We made a deal for language. I can say any words I want about any race, and you can't. That was the deal. All we had to do was be quiet about it. You didn't see one Jay-Z, you heard all it was waiting for, and you know why you didn't see Jay-Z? Because he was smart enough not to open his mouth. So was it 50? They found Snoop, and Snoop said what they needed him to say for them to go, thank you. Fired, Imus. Nice talking to you. We can now get this on. We can get this going, because what they did now, they propped up young black women as this was so perfect.
Yeah.
And when I listen to Imus's statements over and over, you can hear the uh-oh.
Yeah, absolutely. The uh-oh.
Like, here it comes.
You hear the uh-oh.
He's been around long enough to know. He knew very early on. He saw the media frenzy revving up, and he knew it was over.
They propped up an image of hip-hop as the victim.
What amazes me, Patrice, early on, Ant and I were screaming and yelling, going, this is not a black versus white thing. Black people have got to wake up. They propped up the image of why they hate hip-hop. Young, black, non-street women were propped up as the moniker for this game. Imus couldn't have been more dumb to say that about these girls. And like you said, as we're making jokes and stuff, when they said, oh, good, this is it. Whenever they made the deal, could have been 5 years ago and nobody was dumb enough to do it yet. And when he said nappy-headed hoe about these young, these lesbians. You know, Imus did these girls a favor, by the way. I know this is going to be an outrageous statement, but you know, they lost the championship, and they would have went away, and not one of us would have been able to name one player on that team.
Could you recognize one woman on the Tennessee team?
Now they're being paraded out on Oprah yesterday afternoon. They met with Imus last night, but they decided that they're going to have an official statement sometime today. They're milking it just like anyone else, and they're becoming media darlings and stars themselves, and they wouldn't have if Imus didn't said what he said.
Opie, I'm so mad because I do jokes about everybody and everything.
Yeah.
And I hate women's sports. It stinks, it's boring, and no one cares about it. That's how I know this is some kind of weird game somebody playing, because no one cares about those girls on any other level. So, oh, my God, we hurt them. I know that they're not hurt, because I know black people deal with stuff all day long that has to do with nasty words. We love each other using nasty words.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen you guys down at the comedy club just ripping each other.
Where the hell is young black people, man?
Yeah.
Well,
people that this matters to. Don't matter to these old fogey marching people who don't feel satisfied until they got a couple of dumb choices on MSNBC. A couple of, this is Leroy Johnson reporting from MSNBC. Who cares?
Well, Jesse Jackson apparently, because he said all day, all night, all white, and he wanted that changed.
And what did Les Moonves say? Diversity.
Yep.
Blackface is about to be on. We traded a couple of news jobs. Who is the black caucus to hip-hop? They do nothing. And here's what's going to happen. This is the last conspiracy theory. When the hammer hits on hip-hop, right, they're going to look for all the leaders that's been leading this charge against Imus to lead the charge to help save hip-hop when the hammer comes down.
To save hip-hop?
When you guys start going, man, I was listening to WWNIG last night, and, Johnny X said we should hang. It's like now every white radio guy, every white broadcaster is going to go, what about hip-hop? The next move is hip-hop, dude, and it's going to be through the CBSs and the MS, whoever owns these big corporations who own black imagery, and the game is on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were yelling and screaming early on. Wake up. This is not a black versus white thing.
Patrice has been very insightful when it comes to these things.
But you still should have bopped Geraldo on the nose last night.
Well, that's what. Here's what I figured out. How I was paraded around like George Jefferson. This is why they like me.
Yeah.
George Jefferson.
To come back. I was taking a funny angle. I was trying to be funny. I was trying to be funny even when stuff like this is going on.
You're a comic. Of course you were.
Now, I started saying, if I had said what I really want to say funny was like, listen, you guys are just trying to recreate Bill O'Reilly. You know, Sean Hannity really is funny because he really tried to bait Geraldo into like that wonderful ratings thing that him and O'Reilly did where they could just yell at each other.
Yeah.
Geraldo was just tired, old tired Puerto Rican who couldn't just, he couldn't do. He was tired. He's like, I can't do this but more than once, Sean. Come on. So what I'm watching him, every time I'm trying to make a point about what is going down, that's when it starts kind of getting weird. Now, Sean is too smooth to say that that's the game. But that's the game. Is to say, oh, you're making too much. Let me tell you what John Gibson said to me on the radio yesterday.
Yeah. I
said something about this, and I said, look, man, this is because John Gibson really likes hip-hop. He really does. So he's like, he's an old white man that was never allowed to be as cool as he wanted to be. Hip-hop is cool to a lot of white people. They want to enjoy the whole culture, and they're not able to. That's the rule. That's the double standard that everybody's upset about. And I was talking about it, and at some point John Gibson goes, very clever. Like it's a Batman episode.
Very clever.
Very clever. And he didn't mean it condescending. He meant it,
Touché, Mr. O'Neill.
Yeah.
But what art form does it stop at, you know?
Yeah.
Does it stop at artists? You know, you can't understand.
It's scary times for everybody.
There's no defining. It was bad enough trying to define what the hell the FCC meant.
Yeah.
Now there's people's personal feelings being hurt, and we got to try to define what hurts people and what group is being severely injured and scarred for life because of words.
You know, speaking of words, yesterday I went to lunch and my girlfriend sees this baby, right? And she goes to the parents, "Oh, what a cute baby." And I actually grabbed her and said, you better not say that anymore because that implies that there are ugly babies out there.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding. I'm like, that's where it's going. Because to say what a cute baby means that you're acknowledging that there actually could be an ugly baby out there.
Infant Americans, Opie. They don't like being called babies anymore.
People laugh, but, you know, that's where it's going. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but, you know, somewhere in between is where it's going to end up settling.
This is why Patrice is so brilliant. Bonnie said this. Wait, hold on, Patrice. Patrice is why he's so... Patrice gets white people mad, and there isn't a black comic that can get white people mad, and Patrice is so good and so funny that he gets everybody, you know what I mean? And he makes them think, and they get mad. Just like that lady, well, I'm taking away my money for the homeless shelter. Oh, really? That's a good solution, because you did some jokes, right? It's just a liberal hypocrite.
Dude, let me tell you something, man.
Holy crap.
Let me tell you something.
Yikes, Rich.
Well, no.
Just hang in there. Just fire out a one-liner here and there. And we'll promote your gig. You're funny on the stage. These are...
Well, that was a good point.
It was all right. Let us do the heavy lifting right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
Opie's brutal to Rich.
You guys been through this game, man.
Oh, yeah.
And you know something I learned, too, just sitting around for my little news run, is that hypocrisy is so accepted that it's stupid to try to prove it.
Yeah.
Because I was watching this lady from The View. She goes...
Oh, how awful was Elizabeth Hasselbeck or Beck on Hannity and Combs last night?
Oh, my God. She goes, oh, Imus, Imus, go die, Imus, leave, Imus, he should go, you're a jerk. How about Rosie? See, I got to go to work, and I don't know. See,
yeah, she was all brave about the Imus thing, and then God bless Sean Hannity. And honestly, we make fun of him, but Alan Combs did a great job last night on Hannity and Combs. Fair is fair. Sean, brings up what Rosie said about the Asians. I don't even know if we could say that slur. Who knows? And Sean basically saying, look, I like you, but if you had to go, you know, both ways here. Don't you understand that? And then she's trying to say that she believes in freedom of speech, and Alan Combs called her out, like, how think it's okay to get rid of Imus for what he did, basically?
People don't understand freedom of speech. That's what I was trying to say before. There is this complete lack of understanding of freedom of speech. It is the freedom to say things that might hurt other people's feelings. There's no protection in this country against having your feelings hurt. So knock it off. Stop crying.
Right. Hey, Patrice, we got to take a break. You're heading to the airport, huh?
Yeah, man. I'll see you guys in Vegas, man.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. We're doing the first stop on the O&A Traveling Virus Comedy Tour. Right after the show, we're all flying to Vegas. The show's tomorrow night. That's so weird. Tomorrow night, we're going to be in Vegas doing a comedy show with Patrice O'Neill, Rich Voss, Jim Norton, and the rest of the gang. 8 or 9 comedians. It's at the Joint, the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino there, called the Joint. Tickets still on sale through Ticketmaster. You got Norton, Rogan, Joe Rogan, Louis C.K., Frank Caliendo, Bob Kelly, Rich Voss, Otto and George, Ralphie May, Patrice O'Neill. We're also holding a press conference out there by the pool, so we encourage the press to show up for that. And we got some...
that ought to be nothing but questions about the virus tour, I'm sure.
Well, we got some calls from from Super Agent Bob Eatman last night, and he said that his phone's ringing off the hook. See, we've been kind of avoiding the media because, we're next and we know it, so we're hanging low. There's nothing we could say right now that's going to make any sense.
We've actually gotten smarter over the years. We know that if we stand there and talk to the press... it will get twisted around. They will pull stuff out and make us look bad because that's their job.
But supposedly some of the national press and the local press, they're heading to the Joint.
Well,
the
something?
Hard Rock Hotel and
Welcome,
Casino.
because it's going to be us and a bunch of comics that'll just rip you apart. I can't wait.
Yeah, that will be fun. Patrice, have a great flight, and thank you.
All right, thanks, man.
Hey,
all right. What, Rich?
Oh, nothing.
All right, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm just very, very sad today.
No, I know, but I think
they
make a good point. I think Patrice is my favorite comic, and he's brilliant. And
well, Patrice was smart enough to early on to go, hello, black people, this isn't a black versus white thing. It's much, much bigger than that. And we try to say that. And the black radio hosts here in New York, they're just a bunch of dummies. Steve Harvey basically saying it's a double standard and that you can't say what I say and all that. It's like,
well, why can't we? I think today we ought to play a little bit of that Steve Harvey that we played a couple weeks ago, the redneck thing, and tell me what the difference is.
Yeah, please tell me what the difference is.
Especially if people are starting to clamor about bits that we do, parody of Reverend Al and things like that. When Steve Harvey is doing this stereotypical white redneck bit where it's nothing but stereotypes of Southern white people.
Right.
But that's acceptable, and what any white people do on the radio isn't.
Right. And Patrice, when this whole thing was going on down, he was just shaking his head going,
yeah.
Don't they understand what's going on? They're coming after us next. And he said us meaning black people, black entertainment. He's like, what a bunch of dummies. People got to wake up immediately.
Well, after the champagne corks are popped and the bottles are finished, they're going to be waking up with a bit of a hangover, realizing, what did we do? We kind of focused the light on the hip-hop, on hip-hop music, and it could be a problem.
Right. Anyway, we're promoting...